In this video I'm gonna talk about the Arleon faction, how I like to play this faction, mostly on medium and large size maps. So let's start with the Wielders. We have Cecilia Stoutheart with a guard skill and a plus order essence specialization. I would say she is one of the best wielders. Both the skill and specialization is really good to have. So a very good choice. Till Erna Line has the channeling skill and specialization for the percent spell damage power. I don't use much spell damage power when I play this faction, so I don't think that she is a really good choice here, actually. One of the worst ones. So I rarely play this wielder. Giandra Stormspire has the Chaos Magic skill and plus Chaos Essence specialization. Quite good choice also, since Chaos Magic is really good to have. We come to the spells later on, but a quite good choice, I would say. Maybe not the top one. Kno has the melee skill and 20 to melee and ranged offense to Fey troops. Also quite good choice with the melee skill, which is always something you want to have. The offense only affects the Fey troops and not the human ones, but it's still quite good since you will have quite a lot of Fey troops. So a very good choice also, I would say. Lady Elisa Hammond has the cunning skill and 20 defense to human troops. Cunning is quite good skill, but maybe not the best one, since it will only affect your troops for the 3 first rounds. So if you have an army that will end the battle within 3 rounds, then it's good, but most often the close battles will take more than 3 rounds, so maybe then it's not a very good skill. So I like it to have this one sometimes, but not all the time. 20 defense to human troops is good specialization, but will not affect the Fey troops. So a decent choice, I would say, for many maps. Paradigm has the creation magic skill and the creation essence specialization. Also quite good choice, I would say, since you almost always want to have creation magic. So quite good choice also. Ravenfair has the archer skill and the 15 to ranged offense to ranged troops. Also good choice, since you will rely quite a lot on Fey queens mostly. Getting archery will improve these a lot, and also the specialization. So also a very good choice. Baron Silverlink has the taxes skill and the plus troop movement specialization. Taxes is not a good skill for a main wielder, not even a defending one, maybe some side wielder just earning resources, so not a good choice in many cases. Perhaps it's one of the last choices. Vilja has the order magic skill and the 40% spell damage resistance. Also a good choice with order magic, and also 40% spell damage resistance is a good specialization. So one of the top picks also, I would say. So when it comes to units, we have the militia and the sappers. I would say these can be quite good in the beginning of the game, since it only requires a small building. But I normally don't use these much in the middle and late game. Plus is that they can put out stakes in front of them, which can be quite useful sometimes. Rangers, quite good unit, especially in the early game, since it's quite easy to get these. Also very good to put this in the town for defense. They have the ambush ability, which is a really good one to automatically shoot the enemy when it enters the deadly range. So quite good unit. Maybe I don't use these as much in the middle and late game for the main wielder, but as a defense it's a really good unit. Footman, also really good one, easy to get this one. And also the Shield of Order, giving you 3 to order essence. Also have the 50% ranged resistance, which is very very good, and the protectability to increase the defense and spell damage resistance. So this is a really really solid unit to use in all stages of the game. Then we come to the Knights and Fists of Order. Also very good unit, but maybe the last one I will get actually, since it will cost some celestial ore, and you normally want to have at least one mine of these to be able to recruit these. But these also have the ranged resistance, they can give extra offense and damage to your units, and also have the charger ability to give 10 plus melee offense for each step it takes, so really good for attacking. Very solid unit. I use these a lot in the middle and the late game. Horned ones, quite easy to get these ones, so can be good maybe in the early games. Queen's Guards, a bit harder to get the upgraded ones. They have some abilities also, like defend. However, I normally don't use these that much. I prefer to get more footmen and knights actually. They also only give 1 chaos essence, which is not super good. On the other hand, they don't cost any celestial ore, so in that case, if you don't have so much celestial ore, you can get these guys instead, I would say. So quite good unit, but I don't use them that much. Fey Spirits and Fey Ragers. I don't use these that much either, mainly because they are very weak. The upgraded unit only has 12 health. They have quite high damage though, and you can build these quite large troops. They have the magic immunity, which is quite nice also. also have the double strike ability. So, and they also give quite a lot of essence. However, I prefer to get footmen and knights most of the time, so I don't get these that much either. Mainly because they have so little health. Then we have the Fey Nobles and Fey Queens. So these are really strong unit. So you want to get these as soon as you can. Of course the upgraded version is better, giving you a lot of essence, but they cost 2 Glimmerweave, so you want to get a lot of Glimmerweave to be able to recruit these. They also have the Fey Fire ability, which means that you can use a ranged fire in all the cases, even though you have a enemy unit next to this one, or at any ranges this one can be used, which is really good. It also has the aspiring ability, so I use these a lot, especially in the middle and late game. I normally have like 4 stacks of these on my main wielder, so really solid unit. Then we go to the skills, and we have a lot of these. Ifer and Amber, not something you usually want to have on any Arleon wielders. Arcana magic, you will only get this seldom, so I'm not gonna talk about it much, since it's not one of the main magics for Arleon. Archery, a really good skill to improve the ranged offense and the range, especially for the Fey Queens. Channeling, talked about it a bit, not something I usually want to have on my wielders when I play this faction. Chaos magic, really good to have. We'll come to the spells later on, but really solid. And you almost always want to have chaos magic. Combat training, also really nice to improve the damage and retaliations. You almost always want to go for this one. Command also, this one is really important. I like to level this one up to level 9 as soon as I can. Crafty spiders can be good, I guess, in certain situations when you can't get enough Glimmerweave. You can have this maybe on a side hero, so it can be quite useful. Creation magic, also a magic that you really want to have when you play this faction. Canning, also quite divided. Sometimes I think this is good, sometimes I don't like this at all. It depends a bit if I think I'm gonna win my battle within these first 3 rounds. So I choose this sometimes, but not all the time. Destruction magic, we don't use this much, so we'll not talk about it. Essence Leech, not the top choice either, but can be good in certain situations. Find the Meteor, not something you need normally, but if you don't have any other resources or sources of these, then you can pick it in certain situations. Guard, really solid skill that you almost always want to have. Impressive, not something I usually like to have on my wielders, Same with learning, not something I choose ever. Magic resistance. Normally you will get quite a lot of spell damage resistance when you play bigger maps, so I don't choose this very often. March, not a bad skill either, but I rarely choose this one. Prefer combat related skills. Melee, also really good skill to get both the melee offense and resistance. Order magic, also essential to get this one. Perhaps the most important magic skill. Positioning, quite good to get this one, I would say, but since few troops already has some ranged resistance, maybe not as crucial, but still quite good. Also give you extra troop movement. Prepared is also a nice skill to have to give the initiative and troop movement. Raider, not something I usually pick either. Scouting, not a bad skill either, but I usually prefer combat skills. Also you can quite often find artifacts that will give you more view radius. Stonemason, not something you usually want. Same with taxes. Tudor, really good skill also that you almost always want to have, especially on larger maps. Woodcutter, not something you normally want either. Tuned, not a bad skill, but maybe not a top priority either. Brutal, could be good if you have a lot of lower tier units, maybe for a defending wielder, but not maybe not the top choice in all situations. Eager can be quite good, I guess, especially with the extra initiative, but also troop movement. Essence Burst, quite good choice also, but maybe not the top choice. Essence Shield, this one I almost always want to have, since it decreases all the resistances by 60% on level 2, which is very, very good. Farsight, really good to have this one, since we rely a lot on ranged units. Levy, also good to get, but it's hard to get this one, especially if you can't recruit that many units. It's really, really good to get this one. Rigor, not a really good choice either. Could be good if you have a lot of lower tier units. Speed of Winds, decent choice also with the troop movement and initiative. I will not talk about the artifacts. We have the spells. So let's start with order spells. Protection can be quite useful to give some troops extra defense and spell damage resistance. Quicken is really useful, especially to give extra troop movement. So this is really good to get this one. Pacify, not super useful, I would say, but it can be used in certain situations. Rally, perhaps the most useful skill, which will increase a lot of different things, especially on tier 3. So really, really good skill. Destruction, I'm not gonna talk about these since we don't get that much essence. Same with Arcana. Creation. We have the Insect Swarm. Maybe not super useful, but can be used to kill off single units or decrease initiative certain times. Earth block can be quite useful in certain situations. Mist, I think it's quite hard to use this one. I'm not sure exactly how it's working because I think my troops sometimes get attacked even though I use this, so I'm not sure exactly how it's working. Acid cloud can be quite useful even though we rarely get that much damage. It can be useful still. Chaos step, quite useful, especially on the higher tier where you can move 3 hexes, maybe to get inside the town or so. Boiling blood can be used sometimes also, but won't deal that much damage. Tempest can be good if you meet a lot of ranged units and you don't have that many ranged units yourself, but that is not so often the case when you play Arleon, so not super useful, I would say. Chain lightning can be good also sometimes, but I rarely don't get that much spell damage power, which don't give you that much damage. And then we have the combination, so we skip the ones with destruction and arcana. We have the fury. It can be useful if you want to kill off a single unit and he won't have a chance to retaliate or attack, but it's quite seldom, I would say. We skip these. Clouded vision, really useful in certain situations to decrease the range and deadly range. We skip this one. Burst of strength, really good, but requires destruction essence. Swap is really nice feature or skill to be able to swap units. You can swap enemy units or your own units or enemy unit for your own units and so on. So very useful, especially when you want to take towns, but also in other situations. So very good skill. This one I want to talk about it. Invigorate can also be really useful to give the troops an extra initiative and troop movement, but will only last to the end of round, so it doesn't make it that useful, but still can be good in certain situations. This one I won't talk about, not this one either, not this one. Onslaught, really good skill also. Require quite a lot of essence though, but really good to get extra attack. So you want to get this one as often as you can. I won't talk about this one. Breath of the Phoenix, not this one either. Rejuvenation, also really good one to give extra turns for 3 friendly troops when you get to tier 3, so really good. Also cost a lot of essence though. Rapid fire, won't talk about this one either. Then when it comes to buildings, we have the academy. So this one is really good, especially to get the harvest the glimmer weave in the beginning. So I use this quite early in the game, I would say. So really good to get this one, also to get extra essences and increase troop sizes. Barrack, really important building, especially in the early game. Quite easy to get tier 1 also. So I almost always have at least one of these in my towns. Castle, also really good to get the Knights and Fist of Order. But the mostly I get this one latest of the buildings where I can recruit troops. But I almost always have at least one of these. Fey Court, also really good to get the Fey nobles and queens. Quite good, quite expensive upgrade though. But I normally try to go for this quite early in the game, at least the tier 1. So Fey Grove is a requirement for tier 2 of Fey Court. So I normally just build this one and raise it and go for another barracks or castle. But when you use these units, Fey Spirits and Horn ones, it's well, of course a good building or a required building. Farms, I try to get as many of these as I can, especially if I don't have that much gold. Grand Armory, also a very important building, but I normally get this one last of the 3 larger buildings. But really good to improve your units in different ways. Guard Tower can be good if you risk of being attacked by your enemy. It's really good to have 1 or 2 of these. Lumber Mill, really good in the early stages of the game to get extra wood. Then normally tear down these and build maybe a farm instead or so. Marketplace, also very important in certain games where you don't have enough resources, or you want to trade maybe wood and stone for extra gold. Then you almost always want to have 5 of these to get the best rates. Peasant hut, not something I have for a long time. I might build these and erase them because they are a requirement for I think it's castle. Yes, a castle tier 1 requires this one. Quarry, really good to have in the beginning of the game, but later on I usually tear down this one. Rally point, always good to get this one to be able to recruit from any location. Tavern allows you to recruit minstrels and troubadours. I think I might have missed talking about these ones, but it's not a unit that I recruit a lot. I think they're quite useless. They give quite a lot of essence, so in that way they're quite good, but otherwise I very rarely get this one. So then we have the research. We start with the academy. So I don't normally go for this one since I don't use a lot of Queen's Guards. Dynamic construction can be quite good when you can afford it, especially in the late game. For escort, really important to level up the troop sizes to get double troop size, so I will almost always go for this really early. Grow and Creation, really good to get this one also, to get more creation essence. This one I tried to get as early as possible also, to get extra Glimmer Weave, which we need a lot of. So normally go all the way to tier 3 very early. Increase taxes, also good to improve the income. Order Within, also good to get extra order essence. Peasant Mob, not something I usually go for since I don't use a lot of sappers. This one is also quite useful to improve max troop sizes. This one can also be quite good, especially to have these in your town for defense. Swarms of Fae, not something I usually go for either. This is not something I go for either, since I don't build troubadours. This one also good to get to tier 3 as early as possible, to increase the max troop sizes. This one is also good to get extra chaos essence. Grand Armory, also good to get extra defense to human troops when you can afford it. Celestial Weapon, also good to get max melee offense to human troops as early as you can. This one quite good, especially for the Fake Queens, to get this one to increase the ranged offense. This one, I normally don't go for this one that often. Maybe if you have a lot of lower tier units you can go for this one, but it's really costly. Longbows, good to get all these tiers if you use a lot of archers. Natural Blessing, not super useful, but you can get this if you have a lot of resources. Mainly since the Fey Queens have quite a lot of quite good base damage to begin with, but it's not bad to get this one, I would say. Noble Protectors, really good to get this one to tier 3 to get all these benefits for the Fey Queens. Silver Braids, not something I usually go for since I don't get a lot of Queen's Guards. Same here, I don't use a lot of troubadours, so I don't upgrade those. And same with the sappers, since I don't use these a lot, I don't go for these. But this one is really good to upgrade to get better Shield of Orders all the way to tier 3. This one also good if you have a lot of rangers, so really good to get to tier 3. Toughened Spirits, not something I go for either, since I don't use these a lot. But this one really good to get to tier 3 also, since I use a lot of Fists of Order. Winds of the Forest, also good to level up this one, to improve your Fey Queen's initiative. So I guess that was all. Hope you find this useful, and see you in the next video.